Throughout the years, bizarre archaeological findings in several parts of China have been reported, including gigantic skeletons of unknown creatures and mummified human remains from an ancient civilization. In 1979, an expedition team called Post 749 was sent to the China-Mongolia border for a large-scale excavation led by Professor Yang and Officer Han Ju-yang. There, the protagonist, a soldier named Hu Baiyi, meets Professor Yang's daughter, Yang Ping, for the first time. To Hu Baiyi, it feels like they've known each other for a long time. As the team unearths a gigantic skull, the mountain begins to shake until it explodes. The explosion has taken the lives of the archaeologists inside the tunnel. Only some survived, including Professor Yang. Later that night, the soldiers are called to report for a mission to explore the tunnel created by the explosion. When Yang Ping volunteers, Hu Baiyi accepts the mission, which in turn forces Hu Baiyi's friend, Zhang Sun, to join as well. Together with other soldiers and Professor Yang, they enter the tunnel and pass through the excavation site. After hours of exploration, they reach the other side of the mountain. Professor Yang points to the horizon and tells Hu Baiyi about the legend of an ancient kingdom somewhere in the mountains. Their conversation is cut short when one of the soldiers alerts them of a find, a gigantic footprint in the snow. Professor Yang informs Officer Han before following the beast. In their pursuit, the group encounters a horde of butterfly-like creatures which start surrounding them. One lands on Yang Ping's sleeves before flying away. The creatures turn out to be strange-looking bats. One of the bats flies towards Professor Yang, but a soldier catches it with his bare hands. Suddenly, his body bursts into blue flames and burns at an incredible speed until he is reduced to bones. The bats attack them and more soldiers die. The beast, who's watching nearby, starts to walk away. Its sudden movement causes an avalanche that forces the group toward an ice cliff. More soldiers die during the avalanche, and the surviving ones have no choice but to jump. Professor Yang ties Yang Ping and Hu Baiyi together before they jump off the cliff. Hu Baiyi wakes up to see Yang Ping alive. Now, only 4 of them remain: Hu Baiyi, Yang Ping, Zhang Sun, and Professor Yang. They gather what they can salvage from their supplies and proceed with the expedition until they reach a cavern with a rock tower in the middle. Professor Yang refers to it as the Sacred Palace of Kunlun, the place he's been looking for all this time. He explains that the palace has 9 levels where demons are said to be imprisoned. Professor Yang kneels before the tower and lights up a candle that creates a tall fire. The red, glowing bats start surrounding the tower, and Professor Yang sends in his daughter and Hu Baiyi. He believes that together, they can open the tower. Hu Baiyi and Yang Ping enter the tower hand in hand. The door opens and the tower emits a light that shoots into the skies. Thousands of spirit soldiers appear. The spirits suddenly vanish when Sun Sun puts out the flame, saying he will not let Professor Yang unleash the demons. The floating rocks begin to fall, and the bats turn aggressive. Sun Sun sacrifices himself to let the others escape, taking the bats with him in an explosion. However, some bats survive and chase after the fleeing trio. They manage to find an exit to a towering waterfall. The bats catch up and one hits Hu Baiyi, starting a fire on his shoulders. Yang Ping pushes him off the edge to save him from the fire before jumping off with Professor Yang. Hu Baiyi and Yang Ping reunite underwater, but a beast quickly takes Yang Ping away. Hu Baiyi returns to the camp, and Officer Han informs him that they failed to recover Yang Ping and Professor Yang's bodies. They believe he's the only survivor. After his recovery, Hu Baiyi returns to his hometown, where he is picked up by Mr. Wang, his new employer. Hu Baiyi now works as a librarian for Mr. Wang, who allows him to meet his childhood friend, Wang Kaishuan. One day, while arranging the books, Hu Baiyi finds a book containing Professor Yang's research on the tower, revealing that Professor Yang already knew that he and Yang Ping could do it. Meanwhile, Bureau 749 has found a coffin containing a living woman named Shirley, who has the exact appearance of Yang Ping. She appears to have strange powers, and Officer Han orders to keep her locked up until they figure out what's happening. For months, Hu Baiyi receives several books on Professor Yang's research with no information about the sender. He spends most of his time studying them until he figures out the story behind the Demon Tower. Thousands of years ago, a humanoid demon race from Saturn arrived on Earth, and the Demon Tower is their legacy, now guarded by the fire bats. However, the humanoid demons were vanquished when humans broke free from their dominion. Despite researching for months, Hu Baiyi still has questions left unanswered. 3 years later, the missing Professor Yang is found. After his rescue, Oil City is attacked by demonic creatures which Professor Yang believes were related to the Demon Tower. He suspects that when they opened the tower, they accidentally freed the demons, so he decides to solve this mystery himself. Meanwhile, the demon attack in Oil City appears to have awakened Hu Baiyi's scar. His lab results show changes in his bones. His recent visit to a doctor reveals his location to Officer Han. Later, Hu Baiyi's shoulder suddenly starts hurting terribly until his back catches in flames. He also displays superpowers, allowing him to lift furniture with his mind. Mr. Wang arrives and explains to him that his blood got contaminated by demonic force when he was attacked by the bats, giving him magic powers that can drag him to hell. Hu Baiyi is confused and demands to know how Mr. Wang knew about all this. Mr. Wang explains that he is from Solin Nation, the guardian of Prince Yi's tomb, while transforming the library into an ancient tomb. He adds that Prince Yi led humankind in the battle against the demons, who despite having more advanced technology were defeated. Prince Yi has shut down the tower, forcing demons to flee Earth. Those who remained married humans, allowing them to take their humanoid forms. Mr. Wang reveals that Hu Baiyi is Prince Yi's descendant and the only one who can open the tower, the reason why the demons are after him. At post 749, Officer Han is disappointed to know that Professor Yang has escaped from his men's watch. Suddenly, he receives news that Shirley has regained her memories and wants to look for her father with Hu Baiyi. Officer Han then goes to the library to convince Hu Baiyi to help, but the latter refuses. However, he quickly changes his mind when he learns that Yang Ping is alive. Mr. Wang disagrees, knowing that the demons are after him. Hu Baiyi insists, wanting to know how Yang Ping survived. The demons are also attacking Prince Yi's tomb, so he has to go. With Wang Kaishuan, Hu Baiyi meets with the rest of the search team that includes Cao Weiwei, Shirley, Chen Dong, and a few soldiers. Hu Baiyi becomes emotional when he meets Shirley, calling her Yang Ping, but she acts cold towards him. The team camel-trekked the desert for days. Hu Baiyi can't stand Shirley's treatment toward him, so he asks her why he forgot about him so easily. Shirley tells him she doesn't need to forget and warns him about the people with them. Moments later, the team is caught up in a sandstorm, so they hurry to the ruins of Oil City with an invisible shield protecting it. When they dismount, they learn that they lost some of their men, including Kaishuan, who later reunites with them after surviving a demon attack. Kaishuan informs them of the beasts, and Hu Baiyi insists they leave immediately. However, Chen Dong and Shirley refuse. Moments later, the beasts find them and attack. The team starts shooting at one until it drops to the ground. Then they chase after the second one. Unbeknownst to them, the first one they thought was killed is alive, and it has vanished when they turn around. As the fight ensues, Shirley runs off to the nearby school where the demons first attacked. Hu Baiyi chases her into a theater and sees her enter a hole in the floor, then follows her. He is now inside an underground tunnel leading to Prince Yi's tomb. Then, he calls out for Shirley, unaware that she's walking upside down on the ceiling with a beast. The beast attacks Hu Baiyi and prepares to finish him off, but Shirley leaps in between them and tames the beast. She then lifts Hu Baiyi's body and puts it inside the coffin before returning to the surface to unleash the demons. Hu Baiyi wakes up and desperately pounds the coffin, trying to get out. He then discovers that his wound is healing at an incredible speed. Mr. Wang's spirit appears before him, telling him that Prince Yi will live again with the help of the coffin. Suddenly, Hu Baiyi falls into a void and finds himself in front of the demon tower. There, he sees the past. The beast drops Yang Ping into the flames, which burns her body, allowing the queen to take over. When the beast leaves, Hu Baiyi approaches the queen's spirit and demands she returns Yang Ping to him. The queen explains that Yang Ping is her descendant and tells him that Shirley will kill all his men. But Hu Baiyi warns her that he will not allow her to open the tower. Shirley will not listen to anyone, but Hu Baiyi insists he can persuade her. Before the queen takes him back to the city, she warns him that killing Shirley will make him lose Yang Ping forever, but he simply says he just wants to save his men. Hu Baiyi is teleported back to the city where most of their men have fallen to their demise. Wei Wei and Kai Xuan are desperately trying to flee from one of the beasts inside a bus. He comes to their aid and fires an RPG toward the beast. The demons attack Hu Baiyi, but Shirley protects him, knowing she needs him to open the tower. She fends off some of the demons, but the rest are still ready to devour Chen Dong and the others. Chen Dong prepares to end his life with a gun rather than get eaten by the demon. Meanwhile, Hu Baiyi realizes he can never get Yang Ping back, so he decides to shoot her. Hu Baiyi is the only person who can kill Shirley. The demons start to disappear, and the tower collapses, saving the soldiers. Shirley kisses Hu Baiyi before breathing her last and transforming into Yang Ping. When Hu Baiyi learns that Yang Ping is still alive, he takes her to the tomb, hoping that the coffin will heal her. He lays beside her inside the coffin. There, he learns that Yang Ping can bring the dead back to life. Her mother is a descendant of the demons. She was the reason why they survived the fall during their expedition. In her dying breaths, she asks Hu Baiyi to find her father. To honor Yang Ping's wish, Hu Baiyi embarks on a journey to the desert. As they leave, the same beast who has taken Yang Ping to the tower watches them from afar. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and click here for another movie recap video.